Information handed out to us, and that's just a brief overlook of what we really got to experience. So I'm just going to speak on a couple quick topics, and then I'm going to pass it on to my brothers and sisters, and they're going to cover a couple things. On the first day, we covered one of the most important topics, our history. Personally, this is important to us because we need to understand our history, where we came from, before we can understand to where we're going. Underneath the history of ILWU Canada, we look back at some of our history and how we became who we are, and the waterfront movement, even back prior to the being unions. We went right back to the 1800s and looked at the history. We also covered some of our biggest battles, such as Bloody Thursday and the Battle of Valentine. We also learned how our locals today, 500 and 502, became the locals they are. There was also a great amount of history shared with us. Really, there was too much to even share what was covered. But personally, I can say for myself, it was great to get a better understanding of my union's past. We also had your brother Tom Dufresne come in and go over our contract and explain how we got to where we are with our contract, the process, and how much work and time goes into that. And finally, we had Ian Ruskin come up from San Francisco and share his wharf rat story. And for many of the young workers, this was the first time that they actually got to see and hear anything about the Harry Bridges story. At this time, I'm just going to introduce my brother, Dushko from 502.
Thank you, Randy. First of all, I'd like to thank all of ILWU Canada and all its affiliated locals for giving us the opportunity to participate in the Young Workers Conference. For many of us, it was the first chance to see what international union solidarity is all about. One very significant topic we touched upon at the conference was social media. It's very important to understand that these mediums of communication are public and accessible by all. This accessibility means that our lives are made ever more public and open for scrutiny. Our actions, comments, in our private lives can have detrimental effects on employer, co-worker, and labor relations in general. But, on a positive note, we can use it as a tool for networking between the locals, building our union solidarity, and educating our membership on the day-to-day struggles we all face. Next, I'd like to tell you another great thing the union did for us here at the conference, and that's international solidarity. We had brothers and sisters from the MUA that sent a delegation of their young workers. Sister Sarah McGuire and brothers Luke Murray and Jason Miner. They told us that we're stuck in a similar position with an anti-labor government in power that's trying to erode our worker rights. A video they showed us on the Patrick's dispute was eye-opening. Such overtly violent tactics used on the working class in a first world country seemed unimaginable. The story also told us about the international solidarity that was shown by the ILWU. Our brothers and sisters refused to discharge a ship, the Columbus, Canada, because it was loaded by scab labor halfway across this world. This unity is going to be needed against the political clout and the economic might of our employers. The international scope of our union was further reinforced by the presence of the ILWU President, Brother Bob McElrath, and Secretary-Treasurer, Brother Willie Adams. The two brothers are true leaders in the fight to improve the lives of working people across the globe. Brother Adams spoke to us about the principles and standards our union believes in and fights for. Brother McElrath told us about the grain terminal struggle in Washington State and the eventual disassociation from the AFL-CIO. He also gave us some good personal insight as to what it takes to be a good young longshoreman. But in closing, they reiterated the need for working class solidarity on an international level. Brothers, our employers are banding together against us, and we need to do the same. We need to stand by our slogan, an injury to one is an injury to all. Thank you. And now let's introduce from Local 500.
Hello, my name is Chrissy. At the convention, we had Brian Campbell present, who was a very witty speaker, come and talk about health and safety. He works for the BC Federation of Labor, and is a proud member of the United Steelworkers Union 2009. He travels all over the world, actually all over the province, spreading the good word about health and safety. Every job has hazards. There are 5 categories of hazards that we talked about that day: chemical, physical, biological, ergonomics, and psychosocial hazards. Another one of the best speakers that we had at the Young Workers Convention was Amy Huzak. She was extremely smart and had a very easy to understand view on how unions impact today's workforce. Amy is a great example of how the power of young workers can really make a difference. She got involved in labor activism as a UFC youth intern, working in retail in a newly unionized environment, and seeing the difference that a union made in her life. She then became a chief steward, and then from there was elected to be the Young Worker VP of Saskatchewan Federation of Labor. Now she's working in a national role in the CLC, and Amy is responsible for educating and engaging young workers across the country. As seen in the video, we worked in our groups, racing to come up with catchy union slogans. The assignment was very eye-opening to thinking and started making us think about politic topics. I now would like to introduce my sister Trudy from Local 500. Thank you.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. It's my pleasure to share with you what Alison Tremblay, an associate lawyer with Victory Square Law Office, had to say about our current issues in transport security, the application process, and common reasons why clearances are being denied. Most of us have all filled out the form, gone through the necessary steps to drop off our applications. This is where it gets interesting. Applications are then being sent to the RCMP for batch check. This is where applications are coming back flagged. She explained to us why these are coming back flagged. It's because of a secret file that the law enforcement has created on all of us. It contains information that might not even be true and started long before we ever became longshoremen. These secret files are being shared with transport security. She gave us lots of examples, but this is the one that blew my mind. You're downtown walking around, you witness something that requires you and everyone around you to give a statement. Law enforcement enters that information into a database. Someone you don't even know gave a statement as well. They consider this person to be involved in organized crime, and now in that database, you are considered to be associated with that person. In the next 10 years, the government wants every longshoreman to have clearance to work at any dock. I find this interesting since the crew can come and go without it, which I find yet as another direct attack on our union. What can we do about this? This is where Bill Thielman comes into play. He spoke to us regarding outside forces and agencies. He is one of the best-known strategists, communicators, and political commentators. He was encouraging us to get involved when issues are arising. One way was by writing letters to our local parties, and he suggested us getting involved with these local parties. He brought up Bill C-377 with examples of why this is a union-busting movement by our government, as well as C-525, which is an attack on the workers' right to have a union. Now, I would like to introduce my brother Dan from Local 502.
So, Dushko took half my shit, so I should be a little bit shorter. Anyway, he touched on the idea of global solidarity and international solidarity. We were showing that Patrick dispute video, and I don't know who's seen that, if that doesn't invoke some type of emotional response and you hear soulless, that video is something else. We also showed the Pedro Zamora story, and we talked about the ongoing struggles in Vancouver and Oregon. And then, of course, the international agreement's up in July. There's an inevitable dispute there. So there's no better time for solidarity between everybody and to get the young workers involved in that. Even if it's just buying a t-shirt from another local or liking their Facebook page, just get people involved somehow. Because if shit ever hits the fan here, we're going to need all the allies and resources we got. And we feel that one of our best resources, and possibly untapped resources, is our young workers. And some people might paint us with the brush. We're just kind of entitled kids whose daddies did all the work and we won a golden ticket. That's not entirely true. There's a lot of us that have a deep respect for what this union offers us. We have a hunger for the tools and education we'll need to participate and get involved in the future. it's, we do want to get involved. We're here. We're showing that, right?
Yeah.
So now the challenge now is to shape and use that resource. Not turn people into mindless zombies, but give them the tools they need and educate from the bottom up. So when people do make the outfit, they're not stupid. They know what's going on. And by continuing to have these young workers conferences and other open forums, we can continue that dialogue that was started. And all the walls were broken down there. It didn't matter if you're a casual, a member, an old timer, if you're from another maritime union, or just a friend of the labor movement. That dialogue can help develop new ideas and strategies that will only benefit us in the future progression and solidarity of our union. And we can continue to solidify a culture that values our union for its history and its strength, and not just the perks that it provides. That's all I got.